Hello and welcome back to people who've listened to the show before. I suppose it is always someone's first episode. Every issue was someone's first issue. Is that what Stanley thing?
Oh, that's Stanley. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, every episode someone's like? That's not something that we can guarantee.
I mean, it could be.
I mean, I guess so, but I feel like the difference between Stanley putting out thousands of comic books and us doing this show, I feel like that's kind of a different amount of population that we're dealing with.
You know, there definitely probably are episodes that have... Well, no, I think every episode over the course of time will be someone's first episode.
Really? You think we're going to be, like, listened to for decades?
No, I just mean, like, every time someone jumps on, they're going to start somewhere, and, you know, I don't know.
I mean, I get what you mean. I get the spirit of what you're trying to say, which maybe is the most important part, Doug.
Anyways, what you are listening to is Comics Covered. It's a comic book and comic culture podcast. This is the show for the week of February 20th, 2019. This is episode 65. I still get very weirded out by the fact that we're in the year 2019. I can never remember to write it down as 2019. I always want to do 18.
You know what's funny is, like, I'm pretty sure this is the first time I actually remember to put 2019 on the date of one of our rundowns.
Mm-hmm. I have to update the metadata for the episode every time, the like tags in iTunes before I upload it. And because we started the show in 2017, however iTunes works, every time I add a new episode, it defaults the year of the episode to 2017. So I always am paranoid that I'm going to forget to change it.
Oh, and there'll be like some prequel episode that gets in there. That'll be interesting. Huh.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Episode number 0. Yeah, we're 65. We apparently are old enough to get a senior discount, I suppose.
We are, I think so, at least.
Yeah. Here on this show that we've been babbling on for a little bit here, we talk about comic books, the world around them, the industry, comic movies, TV, games. We will also talk spoilers about the books that we read this week.
Yes.
We will warn you about that, though, before we do so. I'm Doug. I was reading comics a little bit before Jack. Yeah, for years before Jack. And I have bestowed this horrible curse upon him. I fished out the evil eye that I had lying in my closet or whatever, and I fixed it upon him.
Okay.
When he wasn't looking, and now he has been cursed with the comics habit.
Wow, that's unsettling. Okay, yeah, I'm Jack. I've been cursed. I'll tell you how far my curse runs this week. Just yesterday, in fact, I brought my first big box of comics off-site to be stored.
Oh. Yeah. You get a storage unit?
I didn't get a storage unit. We're keeping it in my in Samantha's grandmother's back room.
Okay.
So it's in a big box. It's not in a long box because I've decided that long boxes don't carry the most. And these boxes carry a lot more, but I just need to put a base on it. But, yeah, a lot of
So is it not a comic box?
It isn't a comic box at all. I got 14 free boxes from my old work, and they were just sitting in my car. So I'm just putting them together and putting comics in them.
Are you still stacking them like the tall way? Or not stacking, but like, how are you putting them in there if it's not a comic box? Like,
it fits so that like you can do one row of comics facing the long way, and then the other ones are to the side of it, like facing perpendicularly.
Interesting. You don't have to get long boxes though. I don't use long boxes because I find them to be a pain to move around. So I use the short ones, but they're the same. Like they're as tall as a comic book, and they fit, less than a long box, but they're deep. So you know,
I don't know.
Them in how you would put it in the long box. So
I don't know. I like these. They were free. It was fun. But so a bunch of the like completed floppy series are all in that box, so it's a lot. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, it's fun. So that's your fault, I guess. I'm blaming you.
Well,
what?
Jack, how was your week?
How was my week? It was fun. You know what? I've been doing this. Samantha and I have been playing old games, a lot of old games, because I didn't grow up playing video games either. Okay. So the game that we're on now is from Samantha's favorite series of video games, Legend of Zelda. We're playing Ocarina of Time from 1998, which is insane that it's from 1998. It's like basically an open world game. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's crazy.
It's like pointed, like you have to do this and that, but you walk around this world and they have shops that you go into and, you know, people that you talk to on the street. Like, it's so cool that this comes out, like, what was it? That's 20 years ago, 1998? That's nuts. 21 years ago. So, yeah, it's really, really cool. I love going back and playing these old games and then, like, going through the series and seeing how those mechanics work in the future and like being able to appreciate how far it's come. It's really, really awesome to me. Yeah, that was about it. How are you? Nice. How are you doing? What's up?
My week was pretty good. I went and I saw Beirut last night. Beirut?
What is
Beirut? I've never been entirely sure. That's a place, right?
Beirut? Yes. Beirut, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, Beirut. All right. I don't know why I said it weird the first time, but Beirut is also the name of a band.
Beirut?
An artist.
Oh.
Beirut.
Got it.
And I just said it weird. But saw that last night. That was really cool. That was a really cool show.
Wait, that was a like rock concert?
It was a music. It was a show. Yeah.
Like, I'm getting confused.
I don't know if I'd call it, like, it's, yes, it was a music show.
Was it a concert?
It was a concert.
For a band?
For a band.
Okay.
What is, you're confused still?
No, I get it now. I just thought, like, you kept saying, like, it was a really good show. Like, I saw Beirut. It was a really good show. I don't think band concert. You know what I mean?
I thought I said that already, but maybe not. Yeah, they're a band.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, it's really cool.
What kind of music is this?
It's weird. It's like kind of rocky, poppy, like Eastern European folk music-y.
Okay, that's awesome.
There's a few different kind of things in there, but it's look up Postcards from Italy or Scenic World.
Okay,
they're very good songs.
Is it like anyway, funny sounding stuff or like
no?
Okay,
no.
Depressing?
No.
What's the general tone of their music?
Runs the general kind of mood of it.
Is like punk?
I really don't know what genre to put it in. Rock, I guess.
Okay.
But
alternative?
I don't know. Yeah, it's not typical, so I don't really know how to categorize.
Okay, that's cool though.
Music people are probably screaming at me right now.
I mean, I'm screaming at you because you can't describe what you were listening to. Just listen to dubstep, Doug. I'm just kidding. Have you ever listened to, you were reminding me of Gogol Bordello is a great band.
Yeah.
Have you heard of them?
They are great. Yes.
Is it kind of like that? That's like the Eastern European sort of.
They're more like doing that because it's goofy.
Yeah.
This is more like genuinely looking at like folk music stuff and like like European folk music stuff.
Interesting. Did you throw your bra on stage?
I did do that.
Nice.
Yep. So, took it right off.
So now you don't have one.
No, I had one.
You had one bra.
So.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, anyways, I watched, let's see. I watched something. I just got around to watching Black Klansman.
What'd you think?
I really like that movie. That movie's great.
It is great.
I got the impression you did not like it.
No, I like that movie. I just don't think it's that high of a caliber. I think it's like an 8 out of 10 movie. I think it has really great stuff. I think it's a really good movie. I thought there were some weird directing choices, and I thought there was some weird acting choices at times. I mean, the acting choices I think are better because it's it's sort of meant to be people that are sort of goofy. And well, some people are meant to be goofy. I felt some people were goofy when they shouldn't have been goofy necessarily. I don't know. I don't know.
I thought it worked. It was kind of going for this sort of, I don't know, or it was a comedy in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like it was pushing the kind of cartoonishness of a lot of its characters.
See, what I felt was I felt that cartoonishness, but I didn't feel a lot of the humor. Maybe. I felt a lot of the humor, but I thought that it wasn't enough humor to justify as much cartoonishness. I don't know.
Okay.
I would have known more right after I saw it, but I didn't. I don't know. There was something weird about maybe the pacing of it. I don't know. There's something weird about it.
Anyways, I am, despite hating the Oscars, theoretically holding an Oscars party tonight.
Oh, cool!
So,
is that tonight?
I was trying to. Yes, it is.
Oh shit!
So I was trying to watch one or two more of those. If I have time today, I'm going to try to watch another one.
Okay.
But I've seen more than half of the.
That's good. Wait, so you've actually seen Black Panther?
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, just making sure. You know?
Wow. Really, kind of delving into the indie stuff.
Oh yeah.
The
popular films category.
Oh god, fuck. Did you see a while back when they tried to cut out the editing and cinematography categories from the broadcast?
So they got too much backlash, right? It's back on, right?
Oh, it's back on.
Oh, thank God. That's fucking so... I get why they're doing it. I get it. But it sounds like the Oscars, the Academy is like...
No, those two categories specifically. There were a couple other categories that I can understand. They reinstated all of them as far as I know. But fucking cinematography and editing. Why are we doing this? If it's just the celebrities.
That's what I'm saying. The Academy really wants to have this show, which is full of celebrities. They get to see all the fashion, and I feel like they're handcuffed to this. Oh, we have to appreciate film too. Fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that fucking sucks.
They're stupid. They just want their goddamn ratings, and
I mean, that's why the movies that get nominated are the movies that get nominated, because it's all about acting.
Yeah.
The entire thing is about the acting and nothing else.
Yeah.
Anyways, despite all my complaints, I'm holding a party because I haven't done it in forever, and I don't know. I like having the party.
Okay.
But
just don't stream it. Watch it on regular TV, and then as long as you don't have a Nielsen rating box in your box, then they won't be able to measure that you're watching it. So it's fine.
Wow. All right. Go off the grid. I'll have a child in the wilderness, and they'll never know technology or the internet, and no one will know they exist.
Wow. That's actually a thing, right? They found a kid who lived their whole life up until 9 years old in France, and
holy shit.
They taught him everything about life. It was really, really cool experiment about nature and nurture stuff. What do we learn? What do we not learn?
Wow. And did they teach him to kill people kind of themselves, or did he just learn that naturally?
I mean,
who were the targets they were sending him after?
Is this a comics thing?
No, it's just, I don't know. It sounds like the setup for an assassin.
Oh,
it's what is that thing? Hannah from a few years ago was, I think, that exact premise, but she became an assassin or whatever. I don't know.
Oh wow.
Anyways,
no, I don't think they did that. I think they just taught him sign language.
Okay, that's very different. I missed that bit. Let's move on to some news here. Okay. So not a ton of news this week, but some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Aside from Donny Cates getting death threats for writing Venom, but fucking people, calm your shit, okay? For real, that it's too much.
Death threats, not liking a run for what it's doing is all good and great, but who knows? Maybe the next writer is just gonna make it all better. So is it really worth it?
I just even if they don't, even if it's the worst run in the world, And which it's not, by the way.
It's so far from that.
it's
remember
really
the
good.
last issue. The last issue was in that diner, and you were not liking half of it. You remember in the 90s stuff?
But that's the thing is, like, even if I have issues with it, even if I hated it, fucking people can write whatever the hell they want. It's it's a creative industry. Like, they're telling stories. You don't own the character. Stop sending people death threats. And yeah, if you're putting that much of your personal identity in, like, what they do with Venom, you need to take a moment and kind of really seriously evaluate kind of what your sense of worth and place in this world is. But anyways,
what else we got?
Some actual exciting news this week. I didn't actually read this first one that you plopped in here, but it does sound very exciting because I very much like this book. Jonathan Hickman and Tom Coker? Is that his?
I think it's Tom Coker.
I think it's Tom Coker. I know it's Coker.
I'm looking.
Anyways, yeah, look that up, please. Their series, The Black Monday Murders, is coming back with issue number 9 because it's a fucking Jonathan Hickman book and we can't get 10 consecutive issues without it disappearing with no announcement off the map for like a year or two.
Is that what this did?
Yes. Because it's a fucking Jonathan Hickman book. This happens every single goddamn time. Like, I don't know what is, he must have an insane life, or he's a maniac, or he's like just the kind of like weird eccentric that like he can never stay focused enough on one thing. But like
he's absolutely a lunatic.
He is
like,
a lunatic.
Have you read?
It's in a good way, and that's why I love his shit. But like, it's always so frustrating to me. Like, I think East of West is really the only one that I've read in the last few years that has just consistently comes out. It'll go through, it'll get breaks and stuff, but it just comes out. So I don't know if that's just the focus of his time, and so the other stuff takes a back seat. But yeah, pretty much any new Jonathan Hickman series you pick up, you're gonna get like 3 issues, and then it'll just disappear, and then with no announcement, and then like a year later, it'll come back and be like, oh shit, that book was really good, and then you'll get like 4 more issues. It's really weird. I don't understand what he's doing, but
is East of West does that consistently like keep at a great level of quality? I'm still very much enjoying it, but I don't know. I think his stories work better on a shorter time scale. This has gone on long enough that it's that kind of Game of Thrones model of storytelling where it's it's just lots of people just doing stuff and they're crossing paths, and like there's not really like a definite arc to things in a lot of ways. Really? So it's just kind of like keeps going forever and ever. And so I enjoy it. I really enjoy the world and the world building, and that's what I come to Hickman books for. But like sometimes when it goes on this long with a specific story and characters, it starts to really kind of show that the characters aren't as much the kind of appeal of his books, okay. I think. But anyways, it's still great. But okay, well, back to Black Monday Murders. What? Sorry, Back in Black. Back to Black Monday Murders. I am gonna definitely need to reread these books because I like just reread them or just read them. Basically, I got caught up in everything. Yeah, but I don't remember the 8th issue leaving stuff open. I forgot what happened.
I don't really remember what happened either. It's been a while, and that book is so fucking dense.
It's so good, though.
It's so good, but it's so dense. Like, it's like there's so much politicking and all the like redacted backstory kind of stuff. The like stuff where you're like learning about the histories of all these characters. It's a little hard to keep straight sometimes, even when you're reading it. So yeah, I would also be curious to go back and read it. And it's only 8 issues, so whatever.
Yeah, they're big issues, but
yeah, they're all like oversized.
Yeah, and then this last series, he said it was all going to be oversized as well. So that's coming back April 24th.
Okay,
this year.
Cool. Nice.
So I'm super excited. That's really cool because like I'll be able to actually be part of the discussion this time. It'll be great.
Cool. Yeah, very excited for that. That's a surprise.
And it is Tom Coker.
Nice. Okay,
Tom
I got it
with
right.
2 M's. Tom.
Tom. Do you think that would be not a Thomas if there's 2 M's?
My guess is they specifically said Tomm, yeah.
Tomm? Huh, yeah, because I don't know how you would make that a Thomas. Unless it's some other longer name, but anyways. Thomas with 2 M's looks weird in my head, but maybe it is. Maybe that's it.
Like Tama.
I don't know. I'm going to jump into this other comics thing before this entertainment thing.
Okay.
So
these comics aren't entertainment at all.
I meant as opposed to comics. I don't know what I'm saying.
You wanted to tease them and not tell them it's about a film, do you?
I just wanted to stay in the comics category. Anyway,
yeah, let's go.
So we're in the next few months here going to get the big Leviathan event. That's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a crossover thing or what, but it's at least happening in the Superman titles. It should be interesting because I don't know what it's going to be like. It's going to be the next big villain, I guess, that Bendis introduces. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's related to there was a Leviathan thing in Grant Morrison's Batman stuff, so I don't know if that's the same thing or if it's a different thing. But anyways, spinning out of that event is going to be a pair of new Superman-related books. We're getting a Lois Lane book and a Jimmy Olsen book. The Jimmy Olsen series is being written by Matt Fraction and with art by Steve Lieber, who are big kind of... they've done some stuff at Marvel together. And then Greg Rucka and Mike Perkins are doing a Lois Lane book. That sounds awesome.
Interesting.
Greg Rucka does really great kind of ground level espionage stuff. Speaking of our next thing, we'll get to in a minute. But
I don't know if I've ever read a Greg Rucka book, except for his... he, I think, wrote a little bit of 52.
Yeah, he was on the writing team for 52. Yeah.
Okay.
Hard to parse who did what in that series, but based on kind of what he did after that series, I'm guessing he was heavily involved in the Question stuff specifically.
Okay. Makes sense.
But I'm not slash the Batwoman was part of the Question stuff. So, anyways, yeah, that's another character that he wrote a lot of. Anyways, I'm super excited for both those books.
Are you going to be on both of them? I don't know much about Matt Fraction, so I don't.
I've tried Matt Fraction stuff before. I haven't really connected with any of it. I'm really interested more so in just a Jimmy Olsen book, so I'm going to try it. I'm really excited for the Lois Lane book because I really like Greg Rucka, and I think I want more ground level, normal people books. Something about Naomi specifically has that's a new book from DC about just a ground level person in the DC universe has made me really just kind of be like, we don't need all of the books to be this, but we should have we should have some more books like this. You know?
Absolutely.
It's a very different perspective on things in the universe. So I'm going to try both of them, but I'm planning on sticking with the Lois Lane one, at least for a little bit, depending on how it turns out.
Well, the Jimmy Olsen one might be interesting. I'm reading more of this article, and it's talking about Leviathan. Bendis will team with Alex Malea for Leviathan, which, by the way, Alex Malea
God.
So
Alex
fucking excited.
Alex Maleev on a fucking Superman story sounds awesome. I'm so excited for that.
And then they go into Leviathan played a big role in Batman Incorporated, where...
Okay, so it is that.
Where, spoilers for that, I guess, Talia al Ghul was revealed to be the organization's leader. So maybe that Talia al Ghul stuff with Jimmy Olsen is going to come back.
Yeah, I really have been liking what they've been doing with Jimmy Olsen in Action Comics right now. So that's mostly what's got me excited for his book. So
you laugh, but I really think they would put that Talia al Ghul stuff in there very specifically.
I bet they'll reference it at the very least. Yeah.
You don't think it was there just to set up those relations when it comes down to maybe she's manipulating him to get towards Superman or something?
I think he's going to be a big part of this event, he and Lois. So so I definitely could see that being a thing.
Give me New Gods Jimmy Olsen.
Wait.
Like, all that crazy shit, like, going on. Didn't he turn into a car at some point or something?
Holy shit, I don't know. What, wait, New... Oh, you're talking about Jimmy Olsen from the Jack Kirby New Gods stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember him turning into a car. I have not read all of it.
I think it's at, like, the beginning of those New Gods thing. I think he is, like, the lens through which New Gods get introduced.
He is. I just mean, I don't remember him turning into a car. But
I heard he turns into a car or something. I don't remember.
Maybe he turns into a car. I'm going to look that up in a minute. But speaking of Greg Rucka, though.
Oh, yeah.
A really great Image book from Greg Rucka and Leandro Fernandez, I believe, is The Old Guard.
When did that come out?
That came out in 2016, at least it started.
Okay.
And I don't remember how many issues it was, but it was basically a mini / first volume / I think they're going to continue it someday. I think there's actually one coming up in the next few months. But
cool.
It's about immortal, like a group, like a kind of squad of immortals who are basically mercenaries. But they're secret, like they're keeping it secret that they've never died. You know, they've been living for centuries. And so different ones of them are very, like, some of them are older, some of them are only like 80 years old or whatever, you know, and some, you know, so like they have all these interesting dynamics in terms of how long they've been living and where they're from. But anyways, that book has been picked up by Netflix to make a movie out of. Is a previously existing production that has Charlize Theron attached to star as the main character, Kiki. I'm sorry.
What?
No, Kiki is the other. Kiki Lane is an actress also in the movie. I'm sorry. I'm misreading.
Kiki's Delivery Service, right?
I cannot recall who the actual main character's name is. But anyways, Kiki Lane is another actress in the movie. Sorry. But anyways,
Doug, what if
she's attached to star?
What if she's playing another actor playing the main character?
Charlize Theron is playing the actress Kiki Lane in this movie. That doesn't make sense.
But that's exciting. So you read this series, right?
Yes, I did.
How is Charlize Theron a good fit for the main character?
Yes.
You think? Like,
yeah, I think she's an excellent fit. Like, it's
sort of a
very
badass
much
spy.
Yes. Badass espionage. The main character is this like tough, like 800-year-old mercenary soldier lady. She's really cool.
Okay.
And I think she would definitely be a good fit for that character. I think she's a good fit for the kind of Greg Rucka likes to write a very specific type of female protagonist. And I think she is just kind of a good fit for like the characters that he writes.
Interesting.
So yeah, I'm really excited for that. I hope that comes to pass. And I'm definitely gonna give that a try. So.
Yeah. So should I try and read that series at some point? Is that like worth it for me to do that, or?
Oh,
what?
for sure. Yeah, I think it's a great.
Do you know who does art?
Series. Leandro Fernandez.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know that you've read anything. Oh,
I don't recognize the name at all. Leandro G.
I know what I'm thinking of. I have been reading a current series that has Leandro Fernandez on it, American Carnage. But I don't think you've read anything by him.
Okay. Did you know that Leandro Fernandez is also the name of a Dutch soccer player? That's what I found.
Interesting. Wow. I'm going to look up how long The Old Guard is.
Okay, cool.
If you want to move into our weekly comics.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we read comics this week. It was great. For me, it was a small week. Apparently not so much for Doug.
Yeah.
So I was happy. It was a pretty comfortable time. But we both read some books that were very exciting. We had Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 3. Mm-hmm. I just realized what you wrote down below to abbreviate that name. Effin' Spider-Man.
Love Effin' Spider-Man.
We had Guardians of the Galaxy number 2. More of Donny Cates' war against everyone's favorite characters, apparently. Justice League number 18. Naomi number 2, and Venom number 11. That's what we both had. I personally got High Level as well, number 1. Oh, and we both got Sharky the Bounty Hunter, because I got that too.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Yes. You miss a lot of things, Doug.
Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, it was fun. I'm really sad you didn't get High Level. You should get that.
I'll take a look at the art. I know you were saying that was kind of the draw.
You haven't even looked at a preview yet?
I think I did the other day. I just can't recall it in my head. I know I think I remember going like, oh wow, that does look good, but I don't remember what it looked like. I also picked up American Carnage, number 4, Batman, number 65. I am just a side note, we're not going to have a whole conversation about this, but I am so ready for this, The Price story to be done.
Oh, yeah.
Which I did realize is just called The Price, because every issue is The Price blank, The Price of blank. So It's a different thing. Anyways, it's in no good. East of West, number 41, 7 to Eternity, number 13, Stronghold, number 1, and The Wild Storm, number 20.
Nice. I liked your ad that you mocked up on Twitter, Doug.
Oh yeah. They had on the cover of The Wild Storm this week, they have a semi-truck getting abducted by a UFO, and on it they have it's sucking up like a bunch of boxes out of the semi, and the semi has Dr. Midnight on the side, in red and white, like it's Dr. Pepper. Dr. Midnight is a Justice Society character in the regular DC universe. Is
he the one that Midnighter is about?
No. Midnighter is a different character. The Wild Storm takes place in kind of an alternate universe, but like they have lots of like, because it's in the DC multiverse, they have lots of like weird little like DC character Easter eggs. Okay. In this book, but it's not, they're few and far between. But gotcha. Anyways, so I mocked up what a can of Dr. Midnight would look like, and I don't know.
What advertising?
Yeah, an ad for Dr. Midnight. But I thought that was fun, so I might do more of those just as a little
It's awesome
fun project. I was trying to brainstorm though, and I don't know that there's going to be anything else that's quite as good of a fit for a soda name as Dr. Midnight. But anyways,
how is American Carnage, by the way, so we can just get some of this, because I'm interested.
I haven't read this week's issue yet, just because I had a lot of books this week, and so I haven't gotten around to really. I think the only solo book I've read so far was Batman.
Okay,
but anyways, it's been good. It shares a lot of plot similarities with Black Klansman. Speaking of that,
interesting.
Except it is not the like it is a black man working for I don't recall what agency he's working for, but he's working for the government, infiltrating basically a hate group. And but he is a very light-skinned black man, so he passes for white. So it's there's a more direct, he is actually pretending to take part in this organization, as opposed, well, I mean, he was doing that in Black Klansman too, but anyways, it's a similar kind of idea,
interesting,
but more focused on the one specific character. And it's more like in that movie, if they were specifically trying to take down Topher Grace's David Duke.
Okay. Okay.
Which fucking that casting, I can't get over it.
It's perfect. Topher Grace is amazing in that movie.
It's very good. It's just very good for specifically what they're trying to say about that character, that person, real life.
Yes,
absolutely. In the movie. Anyways, really getting off track, but I've been liking American Carnage quite a bit.
Okay, nice. Should we do spoiler warning, Doug? Why don't you get the spoiler warning?
Oh, oh wow. Okay. Let me kind of, have I done the spoiler warning sound before?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know what I did before, so there's going to be no sense of continuity here.
That's the point. Ooh.
That was my
nice.
spoiler warning sound. The recognizable
good.
sound that lets you know that we're going to talk spoilers. That's same.
Like it was like a trumpet almost. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Oh,
lots of good brass in the concert I went to last night. It was very good.
Nice. Okay, so Doug, I want to talk about a specific book.
Yes. You asked me to put this on the rundown here.
Doug, let's talk about Justice League.
Okay. You mean Legion of Doom?
Legion of Doom, sorry. Doug, you texted me this week. Why don't you tell the listeners what you told me about your...
I'm gonna pull up my text because I just want to read it directly if I can find it. Oh.
I know we talk too much.
Oh, okay. I said, dropping Justice League. I honestly do not enjoy this book. I put off reading it every time, and every time I feel like it's such a slog to get through. And I just want to put some context around this.
Okay.
As opposed to, okay. Batman and the Flash crossover thing aside, generally, I don't. Well, I'm not even reading that because I dislike it. I don't know. I'm kind of seeing it through at this point because I'm so far into it. But generally, I don't want to read books I don't like. Like, I mean, that seems like a really simple, dumb statement, but like, you'd be surprised by a lot of the comics reading, kind of population out there, the books that they will read despite hating them. And I don't know that I hate this book. I really want to like it, and I really like aspects about it. And there are lots of flashes of what I like about this book always, and there's stuff like that in this issue. But I feel like I'm still clinging to this idea of what I want from Scott Snyder, and I feel like Scott Snyder has, in what he's trying to do with his big superhero stuff, has changed so much since he wrote Batman, like his priorities, that I don't really get out of these books what I want out of them at all, and I don't really like much of the new stuff he's presenting here in terms of the presentation, in terms of how he's plotting and structuring his stories. Now, that said, this issue specifically, not written by Scott Snyder, written by James Tynion IV.
Yeah.
I'm assuming from a plot. They don't even have Scott Snyder. I'm assuming the broad strokes in terms of where they want the story to go are coming from Snyder because it's his book. But James Tynion is solo credited as writing this. So like, I can't say how this issue, like the dialogue or anything specifically, fits into my issues with this book, but I don't really care about any of this Perpetua stuff or any of this like secret history of the DCU stuff. I don't care about the totality or the source wall there's just too many big concepts happening and I can't connect to any of it, honestly. And I don't really like what they're doing in terms of like creating these retcon backstories for all these characters, and not that they can't change them. It's just like, it's constant in a way that is kind of like, I don't know. It just feels
like he's creating a story out of nothing.
I don't know. It feels at odds with itself, sort of. Like, I don't know. I don't really. It's not that he's changing things. I know it's not that, but I don't really know. I don't like what he is doing with that stuff.
Sometimes that's simple as that. I just don't understand why is this specific issue. Like, I get the secret. I guess the secret history. It wasn't
this specific issue. It was just like, it's just I just realized this week, like, for sure that, like, I don't look forward to reading this book. Like,
but see, like, for me, like, ever since the annual, like, the last 3 issues I didn't like the annual, I didn't like the last issue, and this issue was whatever. I don't know. Okay, well, I'm excited because I'm gonna keep going on it for a little bit, and you'll have that safety, Doug.
What did you like about this issue?
I just really liked the story. I liked that, from Lex Luthor telling, Brainiac about this whole thing that he apparently did not know about, the changing of their relationship sort of thing. And they have a newfound sort of agreement to go forth with their plan and everything like that. I thought it was really, really interesting, all this Vandal Savage stuff. I don't know, I thought it was told in a way that was pretty approachable, honestly. I don't know, I feel like when James Tynion IV is writing a lot of this exposition, like history backstory stuff, I feel like it's a lot better and easier to cling on to. And I feel like that's the idea I get from the last 3 issues, that maybe he's giving James Tynion IV the opportunity to write more of these dialogue heavy, like storytelling and like expositionary stuff. And if that continues to be, which it has been, then I love it. I think I really enjoy his voice and how he tells the stories. I just really enjoyed learning about all this stuff. I don't know that much about Vandal Savage, and I liked him taking a front seat. I like all this stuff about Lionel, and I like the explanation that, I guess Lionel Luthor has always been seen as a shitty father, right, by Lex?
Yep.
But it's really cool to see him in this sense, I think, because it makes sense that he'd be a great mind, so why would he not be when Lex Luthor is theoretically an absolute genius? So, I don't know, I was really reminded of Jonathan Hickman's S.H.I.E.L.D. by reading this, honestly. So, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It wasn't blowing me away or anything, but I mean, I don't know. I really, really enjoyed looking at this whole history and it being laid out and then it changing the terms of their relationship,
I think I put my finger in my head, my metaphorical finger on the issue I'm having with the kind of secret history stuff happening here. And it has to do specifically with the reveals that we had about Martian Manhunter and Lex in the last issue. It's that it's very convenient and and improbable, all of these things. And it's very on the nose in terms of it's just it ties everything up in this nice, neat little bow that doesn't feel natural. Lex, it's always been kind of interesting that Lex has had a shitty father, and that kind of drove him to be this genius. And I think it's a little too coincidental that, his father's also a great genius, because that doesn't have to be genetic. I don't think I think that's kind of lame, honestly. That Lex got his genius from his father. But I think maybe that's not
I don't know. I don't see it as his genius. I see it as his thirst for knowledge and curiosity.
Sure, I think that's less interesting than Lex being a self-made man. I think that the inheritance angle of this is something that in all honesty kind of makes Lex less interesting to me, because I don't know. I don't really understand the legacy kind of aspect here in terms of what that adds to Lex, and just the convenience of and everyone forgot, which seems to be the kind of pattern with a lot of this stuff that he keeps adding, is just he was this great genius, then he became the opposite and everyone just forgot. And and Martian Manhunter and Lex Luthor knew each other when they were children, and everyone forgot. I just
well, through specific, workings. People made them forget because they didn't want them to know this history or this power.
I get that. I don't know. It feels a bit lazy.
I understand what you're saying. For me, specifically, you remember when they had, the 5th issue of this series, and it was a Legion of Doom issue, and it was about Lex Luthor going around in the, millions of years in the future, and they were worshiping him, right?
Yep.
You remember how I didn't really like that issue, and you loved it, right? Yep. I think that sort of... I might find it more interesting that Lex Luthor has this thirst for curiosity from somewhere else, because I think that makes more sense to me. Before reading a lot of comics, I always thought Lex Luthor was more of a Kingpin sort of character. I didn't think he was a big genius past being a fantastic businessman or, conspirator, or, you know what I mean? I didn't know that about him. And so when I started reading more and more with him, like 52 or series that he shows up in here, he always did these really, really smart things. I was like, okay, so he's like a genius, but I always heard that he has like this shitty family or whatever. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make as much sense to me that he would be an absolute genius, like ridiculous genius, without that coming from somewhere.
I don't see. I don't believe that at all. I don't. I think the absolute opposite. I think it's way less interesting if it comes from somewhere. Like, I think it's way more interesting if he is finding that in himself, if he's so driven that he becomes that. Like, I don't like stories where Lex is a genius as a child. I think that's lame. Like, people grow and change, and I like this idea that he was so driven to, like, become this big, powerful person that he studied hard and he became this genius. And this idea that, like, I don't know, that he got it from somewhere kind of feels at odds with that. And also, it's specifically the, what makes him interesting in contrast to specifically Superman as a Superman villain, like, is this idea that he has this complex tied up around, like, everything I am, I earned. I didn't get powers from being some Kryptonian, like, legacy character, from, like, my genes, from, like, being dropped on this planet outside of my own free will. I made myself what I am, and therefore I hate you. Like, that's the dynamic that makes those two interesting as opposites.
I can understand that, but see, I would say that I think I'm not seeing his genius coming from his father. I specifically see his thirst for knowledge and curiosity, which I still think that even if it comes from somewhere, that thirst for curiosity, like, he has to amass all that intelligence still himself. And I don't think it's any less impressive that he, came out of that, like, situation as an amazingly brilliant and not well balanced, but amazingly brilliant and successful, like, person. I don't know. I don't see it as lessening that whatsoever, because he still had to do a fuck ton of work to get out of that, I
don't know. Anyways, I don't hate this book. I don't enjoy it enough, I think, to keep reading, in terms of, like, there's so many new books coming out, and I keep getting guilted into being like, well, I can't pick up this new book because I have too many books, and this book is almost always, like, I generally read the shared books we have first, and then I read my solo books, but in the shared books we have, this is almost always last. And it's fine. I'm not getting out of it what I want, and I don't look forward to it. So I think I'm gonna drop it. But
okay, that's fine. You have a safety just in case, and I'll tell you if it's.
Yeah, you let me know.
I don't know if I have.
What?
I don't know. Since we disagree on, like, what's good about this book, I don't know if I can even tell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like, if you tell me it got, like, amazing or something, I feel like you've liked stuff that I haven't liked in this series, like, on occasion, but I've also liked stuff that you haven't liked on this series on occasion. I feel like generally, like, we've been in the ballpark of each other in the broad strokes of this book, not necessarily issue by issue, but so I feel like if you tell me that, like, oh, it got, like, actually amazing and it's made everything worth reading, then that's maybe worth picking up.
Okay.
But anyways.
Also, by the way, this Francis Manapul cover.
Oh, it's very good.
Love this shit.
Francis Manapul is an absolute. God, I wish he had done all of that. No Justice. Is that what it was called? No.
Oh.
He did part of that. He also did part of No Justice.
Oh.
The first issue and the last issue? I don't remember. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about something that we definitely both liked this week.
Yes.
Which was
fucking Spider-Man.
Effin' Spider-Man. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Which I will lovingly refer to as Effin' Spider-Man. All I want. You can't stop me. But so this is the third issue of Tom Taylor and Juan Cabal's run on this new Spider-Man title. And up until this issue, the pitch seemed to have been, I mean, I think generally this is still going to be kind of the pitch, but that this was a kind of more ground level kind of neighborhood based Spider-Man.
Well, you know, I was thinking about that, Doug. You know, this is technically all taking place in his neighborhood still. It's just not New York.
Yeah. So this issue also fucking what we're doing with the villain here became kind of clear at a certain point. Anyways, we'll get to that. But so we found out the last issue that his neighbor in his building, what was her name?
Leilani?
Marnie.
Marnie.
The old lady.
The old lady, yeah.
Leilani is the neighbor who left him with the kids. So he was left with these orange children, who he has left Johnny Storm to babysit. They're hiding them from the bad guys.
By the way, this first scene with Johnny Storm taking care of the kids and seeing the roommate who's a low-level villain is great. Hysterical.
It's so good. It's so good.
Wait, should I be here for you?
I love that. He says, "You're Johnny Storm. Yeah, are you here for me? What? No, I'm a friend of your roommates." And then he starts to explain why he's there. And then there's just a panel of him thinking, like furrowing his brow. And then he goes, "Wait, should I be here for you?" And then
it's great.
Boomerang just closes the door. Never mind. No need to explain, man. I'm just going to back slowly into my room and stay there. This book, Tom Taylor's sense of humor is, I love it. But
this moment almost reminds me of an anime, though, honestly. I don't know if you get that trope at all, but this humor and this look on his face, wait, I don't know. And partially the art too.
I think it's the art that's maybe giving that specific impression, but
maybe. But yeah,
I think it's just some kind of artistic similarity there might be giving you that vibe, but not necessarily any kind of problem.
Also, in a world of super genius superheroes, I love having some superheroes just be not that bright at all, Johnny Storm.
Oh, yeah, Johnny Storm's great. I love when people play with the idea that Johnny Storm's a really good guy and he's going to help his friend, but also, I don't know, he's not the kind of sharpest tack out there, you know. But so Marnie, one of his elderly neighbor, she turned out to be this character called Rumor, or the Rumor.
Rumor. That's not an ongoing character, is it?
As far as I know, no. I mean, I think she's new. Anyways, so she has been keeping this secret undercity called Under York that is underground. He takes him in a crazy sci-fi elevator down there.
To the core of the earth.
Yeah, it's in the water around Manhattan is lava, and the people there are all weird orange people. Something about this issue felt like a fucking Grant Morrison book. It specifically gave me that vibe. And I don't really know why, but it was something about this weird, almost fantasy-esque kind of approach to the sci-fi here, and this crazy sci-fi elevator they go down in, and this idea of this ridiculous mirror of New York that's in the middle of the earth.
They made it look like New York still? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. But I think it's literally this city was here first, is the idea here. They say that's the Empire State Building. Yes, the first one. We modeled ours off it. So,
yeah, I guess so.
So this one existed first, and they built New York above it based on this one? Weird. Anyways, yeah, it's full of orange people. We meet our villain, who... did you figure out what this is?
You mean, did I figure out whether an orange man in a separated totalitarian place, which is separated by a wall that he wants to keep up, is maybe a comment on what's going on in the real world?
He has a fucking gold-plated gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the villain here, if you're kind of paying attention to the patterns, is not a direct Trump analog, but they're definitely doing a commentary.
Yeah, it's not crazy, and it's not like if it was like really crazy, I'd be a little bothered by it. But this is enough. Like it's enough of a comic to be like.
It's a conceptual take on that. It's not. Yeah. We're not. It's the character is not like a Trump impression.
Exactly.
It is an isolationist, American city. Yeah, ruled by basically an orange dictator with a penchant for gold. So they're trying to take down. They're rescuing Leilani. The woman
they're just rescuing her.
And so he wants the children. He wants to kidnap her children.
Oh yeah,
make that connection. So yeah, that's another thing.
Oh God.
Yeah, so I think it's playful in a way that works. Like,
yeah,
it's making a commentary without like either being really without being really direct, and also kind of like it's satirical, kind of in a silly, fun way.
Yeah.
So
it's not like we've had much screen time with him talking about all his like stuff and everything. He's just there. It's just he's just the symbol, and that's fine. That's enough.
Yeah, I'm curious how much more of this character we'll get, because he's not really much of one in this. He just kind of shows up, kind of demands. He like talks down to Spider-Man and like tries to shoot them, I guess. But that's about it.
But in any case, I mean, yeah, this book goes from silly, but it also, I don't know, this like long slog up the elevator when they realize that he has to like carry both of them with a shot in his chest, in his stomach, like up 3 miles. I don't know, it really made me feel like one of those moments of like Spider-Man just being an amazing super, you know what I mean? Like he's just this kid that like always solves a problem, and he'll do this just to like get them out of the situation.
And I think it's that specific scenario that kind of makes the high sci-fi stuff kind of make sense in this issue. I don't think that's necessarily what this whole book is going to be, but like it's that like he's a superhero. He might get thrown into crazy over the top superhero shit like this, but he's just this young guy who's like doing the best with what he can.
Yeah.
But he like has this strong sense of like drive and morality, and like
responsibility.
He's gonna use what limited kind of powers he has, power and responsibility to like try to help people. And like, so he's not able to fly them out of the elevator, but like he's able to slowly crawl them up, and he does
miles.
It. Yeah, it's a long way.
But yeah, I love wound. Yeah, I love this series though. I think it's like every issue is written like just so well crafted in such a great way. I love how the art works with it. I don't know why, the way Wonka Ball. Sorry,
I was just gonna agree. For some reason, this issue specifically made the art click more in a way. I think
it's the way he draws. I think it's the way he draws the rumor.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I love how he draws. I love how he draws rumor. It reminds me of Frank Quitely a little bit.
Yeah.
That's, I think, also part of the reason it was giving me Grant Morrison vibes is because some of Wonka Ball's art here was starting to feel very Quitely-esque. Along with the big sci-fi concepts. Yeah.
I love this shit. I love the character of the rumor. I hope we get more of her.
I think she's fun.
I think them talking to each other is great to play off each other. It's just a great fucking book.
This, I think I really liked the first few issues. I think this was a big step up in terms of like, oh shit, you can do all sorts of shit with this book, and it still feels like it's part of the same story.
Yeah, it's still this theme of like he's a friendly neighborhood, like you said, like that elevator climb, like grounded like the whole thing. I think.
Yes. It's
I'm a big fan of Tom
really
Taylor.
Great.
He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's
I gotta read. Do I have to read some of the Injustice stuff?
You don't have to read anything, but like if you're a fan of the world of Injustice, like of the idea of it, or like what you've seen in the games, it's a really good comic. Like it is.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, it's like, a lot of the times it's just kind of like tales of that universe. It's just like stuff that takes place in it. A lot of little one-off kind of stories. But like, it's a really good book. It was like, that was the book that kind of was a springboard for Tom Taylor to become a big thing in the industry. Wow. It's a really surprisingly great book for a video game tie-in. He didn't write the first game, but he wrote the series, and the series kind of exploded in popularity. And so then I'm pretty sure he wrote the second game, because people liked his book so much. And the story in the second game,
it's fantastic. I love it. It's great. Is the series, like, I guess I don't know how the story works from the comics to the video game. Is it like the comic comes after the video game, but it leads up to it too?
It kind of jumps around in time a little bit, but it leads up to and then continues from the first and second games. There is an Injustice and Injustice 2 comic. Actually, I gotta correct myself. I don't know that Tom Taylor was involved in the Injustice 2 writing. But
Doug.
As a side note, the story in that second game is better than the first one. But anyways.
Doug, what else can we give little words about? Should we talk about death threats again? Do you want to talk about Venom? I really like it. It's so great. What do you think about this? I mean, you were never that big of a fan of Venom, so I guess you're not really that much of a...
I don't know enough about the history here to have an opinion on the retcons. I mean, regardless what I think about the retcons, I'm not going to send a fucking death threat. But like, I don't know enough about these existing characters to be like, oh shit, they retconned out his sister or whatever, or made his brother his son. I think it works in the context of this book. Like, I think it.
Here's my question. What do you think is the difference between the retcons happening in this book for the story and the retcons happening in Justice League for the story?
I don't know that I can really put my finger on it. For some reason, the stuff in this doesn't bother me, and for some reason, the stuff
I have an idea to offer.
Does.
I think that you have more of a basis with Lex Luthor and the DC universe in general than you do about the history of Venom. So the retcons being made to like put the story forth, since there's so much good writing surrounding this, it feels just fine because like, we're along for the ride. We don't know that much about it. But with the Justice League stuff, because we have that, you have more of a tie to like what the character of Lex Luthor or like some of the other ones are supposed to be. And because Scott Snyder sometimes doesn't have the best way of introducing, secret histories and stories and big expositionary things, that it's tougher to see it, to be along for the ride. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not, maybe there's some truth to that. Like, I'd probably be lying if I denied that. I probably do just kind of have more of a connection to those characters. But like, I also think that there's something about how I think that the retcons here are not at odds with the core of the character, even though I don't have a ton of history with it. It at least feels natural in the context of this book, whereas I think that the retcons happening in Justice League, to me, kind of go against it. They go against kind of what I think those characters are about in some ways. But I think regardless, anyways, just to talk specifically about this book, I think that like the changes they're making to his history here are interesting, or at least an interesting path forward. I don't know that I have necessarily much of an opinion about like what I think about the son thing, but I do think it's it is an interesting dynamic for him to have a son. I think that could be interesting. I don't know if it's more or less interesting than him having a brother, but
well, because also maybe I think at some point Eddie's going to reject the symbiote because the symbiote is changing so much about his past, and with that rejection, the symbiote's going to find the next best thing, which would be his son.
Yeah. And I think what makes it work for me is the method by which this obfuscation of the history has happened.
Yeah.
And that is because that the actual changes to his past are motivated in that, like, it's really about, like, Eddie Brock realizing that the symbiote has been changing his memories in order to make him more dependent.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the story has been about this dependence, and so the symbiote has been, like, erasing characters who should be more meaningful to him from his memory because the symbiote wants him to need him. And I think that works so well with kind of the themes of this book. And this sequence where he's talking to the symbiote about it is really good.
Okay. Yeah, I can absolutely see how that works, because it really is well tied in the best way to what's going on with him. One thing I want to say about this book, the art in this book. So, first of all, I love it. Second of all, I've never thought about Reed Richards' powers, Mr. Fantastic's powers, as being creepy, but when it's done by the fucking maker and all these creepy, like, I'm tinkering with all this shit, it looks so fucking, like, unsettling. And
oh yeah,
I just think that's such a cool thing. Like, 'cause I've never thought about those powers as, like, creepy in any way, really. But he's just, like, slinking around and, like, I don't know, I feel like there's a snake going around. I don't know, it's fucking cool to me.
I wish they could get a whole issue of a single artist, though. Lately, it's been...
This one wasn't distracting to me. Was this different people?
It wasn't distracting necessarily, but it was two different people. It was Stegman, Ryan Stegman, the regular artist, and, like, half the pages were Joshua Cassara.
Oh, like the stuff in his head were was a different artist, right?
Was there a pattern to that?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, the present stuff is Stegman. Is it even necessarily all of it though? I guess, yeah, it is all the stuff in his head. Yeah, all the stuff in his head seems to be not Stegman, at least. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, at least that's, a clean break you can make. I didn't put together the pattern, but, it worked.
All right.
But it has felt lately like I'm wondering if that's going to be kind of the norm now going forward in this book, because I feel like the last few issues we have had either fill-in artists or kind of a mix. And I have Ryan Stegman's art. I wasn't huge on at first, but it has really grown on me in the context of this book, and I want more of it. So
okay,
I don't know.
So I just want to just quick on Guardians of the Galaxy, if we can. Is that okay?
Sure.
First of all, this first page, I feel like, is commenting on Heroes in Crisis.
You're talking about... I could see it. Maybe. I wonder, like... So, sometimes it's hard to tell with the time... Like, Heroes in Crisis is a ways in, so the timeline for that might line up, but sometimes... these things get made they take a long time to make. So who knows when this script / when the pencil work for this issue was done.
No, I know.
So I can definitely see I can see what you're seeing.
I don't know. I opened it up and I was like, wow.
This structure is not like 9-panel grid of character talking directly to reader, kind of, is not necessarily from that, but I can definitely see the similarities you're seeing here of him kind of bearing his soul a little bit.
Yeah, even what he's talking about with a blank background behind him, like, I don't know. Nonetheless, I think this still continued everything really, really well. Donny Cates still melds, like, different parts of the universe so well together. Like, I had no idea Star-Lord and Kitty Pryde were connected at all, but he's using that connection in a really cool way to drive this part of the conversation. Like, this part of I think that's so cool. And tying it into the wedding that's happening between her and Colossus or whatever.
Well, it already, quote, happened. They didn't get married.
Oh, that's too bad. Oh yeah, he says he's sorry about it. Yeah.
Well, he says he's sorry. Oh wait.
Oh no, he does. They don't talk about that at all. He just doesn't know.
He just says like, Mazel tov, by the way, Klaus is a good guy, and then she has kind of this like she dodges the question, or dodges the comment because they didn't end up getting married.
Oh yeah,
they pulled a Batman Catwoman one where they didn't get married, and we already have the everything here for the wedding. Why doesn't someone else get married? And in the wedding issue for Colossus and Kitty Pryde, they had Rogue and Gambit get married instead.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
Because that's a fucking thing that would happen at a wedding if someone left someone else at the altar.
Yeah, we have everyone here.
Well, we already put the deposit down.
Yeah. But I love the direction they're taking with Cosmic Ghost Rider because I think it wasn't going to make sense at all if he was just going to join the team. Like, why would he? I really like the Dark Guardians that they're going to set up. There's something about like the team and them talking that I really enjoyed as opposed to like just evil people talking. I don't know. I'm just really excited for this to go forward.
Yeah, I think the swerve with Cosmic Ghost Rider is a fun one.
Yeah.
It totally makes more sense for him to be going against the Guardians than with them. A little disappointing, but also I think it totally works. And then so do you think Nova's going to be on the team then? On the regular Guardians team? Is that the implication at the end? Or is he just going to be kind of the basis for this first arc?
I feel like he's going to be basis for the first arc. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe because he was in that original picture of like, who is going to be the, real team. And we assumed from the first issue that it was going to be this, but maybe Cosmic Ghost Rider is going to be on this and Nova's going to be on there,
Yeah, because that image included both characters who end up being in this Dark Guardians team and the characters who end up being on the regular Guardians team. Like they had, what is his name? Gladiator?
Yeah, Gladiator.
This Gladiator on there and Cosmic Ghost Rider. They had Adam Warlock, I think, on there, but he's not anywhere in either of these lineups. So I don't know that it's 100% but Nova's definitely if we're doing the swerve of it doesn't make any sense for Cosmic Ghost Rider to be on the team, and if they were going to put another person on the team, Nova's definitely a much more natural fit.
Yeah. One other thing, did you assume when Nebula was talking about we go through her heart, the person that she loves or whatever, did you assume from the beginning that it was going to be Star-Lord?
Oh yeah, I think you're definitely supposed to think that.
Yeah.
And then the twist on the last page is that it's Richard Rider Nova.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just really excited. I love this art still from Jeff Shaw. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I'm
a little. Was the first issue this colorist? I don't recall, but something about the colors in this. In this issue, I don't know that they work as well with Jeff Shaw's art as previous things.
Interesting.
It works.
How about?
But I feel.
How about you talk about what we're gonna have next week and our massive week? Okay, and I'm gonna go check.
Because if it was like Antonio Fabella or something on that first issue, I feel like because I felt like there was a shift, but maybe it was the same.
It wasn't Antonio Fabella, but that would be amazing if they got him on this, just all the way through.
Yeah.
What do we got next week, Doug?
So next week we have a fucking massive week. Last week I had a big week. This week I have a much bigger week next week. Although we're both gonna have a big week. We at the very least have Action Comics, Black Hammer: Age of Doom, Daredevil, Death or Glory is coming back for a new issue. We have Detective Comics number 999, last issue before Detective Comics 1000. I'm so excited for that. But this is the last regular issue before that happens. I'm not sure if we're at the end of the arc yet or not, but we've got Heroes in Crisis, Ice Cream Man, the second issue of Invaders, Martian Manhunter, Peter Cannon Thunderbolt. If I have a very big week, might not pick that one up. And then Shazam! Gotta say that. And Terrifics. I don't recall what issue of Terrifics.
Number 13.
We're getting very... Is this the last one with...
It is the last one with Jeff Lemire.
Okay, it is. All right. So this is going to be some sort of kind of finale to his stuff on that series,
I think so. I mean, I'm really excited.
Like to the Doc Dredd stuff, and kind of probably more firmly cementing them as a team.
Yeah.
I would hope. At the very least, it'll be the wrap up of the Doc Dredd stuff. Yeah. I'm excited to see how he wraps that up. I know you said you're not going to read anymore.
I will not be continuing after that.
Correct?
No.
You're not even going to try it though.
Oh, I mean, no. I like Jeff Lemire on that book.
Okay.
I don't feel as tied to the characters as I do the craft around them.
I love the characters in that book.
Okay.
I want to read more of them.
I have 2 corrections, Doug.
As a team.
2 corrections.
Anyways.
Oh, and 1 report.
What?
My report from my travels is that it is the same colors. Marte Garcia.
Okay. All right. Well.
Or Gracia. Sorry, Gracia. I don't know how to pronounce it. And then Death or Glory is not coming out next week.
You put on here as a correction saying 3/27/19, which...
It is not March.
Oh, you're right. What? Oh, is that incorrect? All right. Okay. Wait, sorry.
Go to Comic List. It's not there. Okay.
Alright, fine.
I know, I'm excited for it too, but it's...
Well, well, that's actually good. I had
I know.
books.
So you can get Peter Cannon then.
And they're all... And no number ones, so I'm already, sort of committed to all the books that are coming out.
Yeah.
So, I can't drop anything. So,
I mean, at least, Terrifics, that could be the end of that one. It could be.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't make this next week less big.
Yeah.
But, if I end up if some of this stuff doesn't end up getting shifted, I might not pick up Peter Cannon, but...
Okay. I'll probably be getting it, so you have a safety.
Yeah. Cool. So that's next week. Do you want to talk about some of this other stuff?
Yeah. We could wait for next week on the big thing. No, I want to talk about it because it's not going to be that long.
No, we can do it quick.
Last week, we said we were going to talk about classical painters doing comic series. And this week, we spent all week, not just today, not just this morning, racking our brains, learning about all the history. No, we thought it would be a cool idea to figure out, depending on their style, what would classical painters, how would they draw a comic series? What would we want to see them on? And
so if I don't know if any of us use this, but I feel the idea is someone travels back in time, grabs Vincent van Gogh, brings him to the present day, drops him in the DC offices or the Marvel offices and says, "Hey, do a superhero book." And he says, I do not think I would like to. That was not a French accent. I don't know what that was. And then they hold a gun to his head and say, "Pick a character," and then he has to.
Oh God, that's crazy.
So, anyways, just the idea if they were transplanted into modern day and they did a superhero book, who would you like to see some famous classical artist do? What character or team?
Yeah. And Doug, before we go into this, I want you to name off the top of your head, without looking at your list at all, name 4 Renaissance painters. Quickly.
I'm not going to be good with the time periods. Doug, Renaissance?
I'm positive you know 4 names.
Okay.
Renaissance painters.
We're talking about Renaissance. Michelangelo?
Yeah.
Oh Oh, well, Jesus, the fucking Ninja Turtles.
That's what I'm asking. The follow-up question is name the 4 Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, literally, it's the names of the Ninja Turtles.
What, Michelangelo, Donatello,
Raphael, yeah. Yeah, and Leonardo, yeah. Anyways, that's funny. So, yeah, Jack, who did you pair up?
Who did I pair up?
I'm curious.
Okay. The way you say words is very funny sometimes.
Okay.
So, first of all, apparently not all these showed up, which is kind of annoying. Oh, there it is. Okay. I want Claude Monet to do Swamp Thing. So, okay. Claude Monet has a bunch of landscape stuff where he puts a lot of colors into the flower, and the texture that he uses is like, I think it's a bunch of different brush strokes, and I think that's his style, so it makes it look like this very earthy, girthy sort of look. And I think that'd be perfect for like a Swamp Thing type style book. Not like a horror necessarily, but like I think like sort of just I don't know, him like going through the woods, like learning shit and like dealing with random stuff. I think it'd be really, really great. So Claude Monet. And maybe we should post like our samples on Twitter or something like that so they can see like what kind of style we would like with the specific character. So Claude Monet with Swamp Thing would be great. Vincent van Gogh with specifically, with inspiration from his Starry Night. I want him to do fucking Green Lantern.
Yeah, I didn't consider a space book with him. That would be perfect.
Fuck. Yes, like trippy, starry, strange structures and everything like that. I think it'd be...
yeah, him drawing the light constructs. That would be cool as hell.
Yeah, like if he drew... who's the artist? Who's Green Lantern? Kyle Rayner?
Oh, Kyle Rayner? Yeah, that could be cool.
Like him doing a Kyle Rayner, like, story. I think that'd be so cool. Then I have Renoir, Renoir, who draws a lot of people in regular situations.
Yep.
But I think there's usually a lot of drama, I think, even mundane sometimes.
It's also specifically, I almost did something with Renoir, but I also noticed, I don't know if you noticed, it's a lot of women, like a lot of portraits of women.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I think it is very, well, if you didn't notice it, it is a very good fit, I think, for the character.
For Black Widow is what I have, like in a sort of down-to-earth espionage sort of thing. I did not realize the women thing, but maybe I subconsciously did that because of that.
Yeah.
And then my last one was Paul Cézanne, Cezanne, who uses brighter colors, but he has a lot of like sort of grim images in him. Like he had a lot of skulls in paintings that I saw from him, and so I wanted him to do a Batman series, because I think while it's usually using brighter colors, I think using those brighter colors with Batman, I think is a really interesting concept. Like it gets too dark sometimes, and I think brighter colors can work with Batman as well sometimes. Popping it out. So I don't know, especially with the villains, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, it's this lower left one, correct?
Yes, it is.
For my images that I'm looking at. Yeah, I think that's a very good fit. It's almost got this kind of noir-y kind of feel. I think that's a very good fit for a Batman.
Yeah.
If you want to look at mine,
I am.
Run through mine. So I've got Michelangelo, and one of the 4 Ninja Turtles, doing a Superman book.
Ooh.
I put specifically the creation of Adam or whatever. The
Seed of Life, isn't it? Or
is that what it is? Okay, I don't know. But anyways, just like the idea of him doing this, like he's got this absolute mastery over kind of the human form, this very god mythology kind of thing going on. I think that would be a very good fit for Superman. Imagine him like drawing him flying around.
Mm-hmm. And we just got Batman's penis into Batman Damned, and Michelangelo, he loves to draw penises.
He loves some penises. Let's get some Superman penises in there. Good God, they would never let anyone do that, right?
Superman's
like Batman,
penis?
You could see someone doing Batman, because Batman has often had mature title stuff, but they'll never let anyone do that with Superman, right?
No, that wouldn't make any sense.
No. One assumes he has one down there, but who knows? He's Kryptonian.
Closest thing we got is Dr. Manhattan's penis.
I've got, for my second thing, I went back and forth. I changed this a few times with some artists with similar styles, but I ended up going with Caravaggio.
Ooh.
And I think there's a few different things that this could work with, but I ended up going with Dr. Fate.
Interesting.
He does a lot of, he does a lot of mythology stuff. He uses a lot of really dark shadows. I think he would also work for a Batman book, or maybe even like a Justice League Dark. But like something with a little bit of a horror tinge.
Interesting.
To it. It very much would fit. Like heavy shadows, lots of black. The environments of his things are a lot of black. He has this very very real kind of style. With these heavy shadows, I think would really look cool if he was like drawing Dr. Fate's helmet and his cape and everything.
What does a Dr. Fate book look like? Like, what kind of story is that?
It's a lot of mythological stuff. It's, magic. It's generally in the like dark fantasy, dark supernatural kind of end of the DC universe. So there's often kind of a horror-ish feel.
Okay. Is there a Dr. Fate series that I should read?
I don't know that I've ever read a specific Dr. Fate book. I've read a lot of stuff with Dr. Fate in it. Don't know that I can tell you that. A lot of JSA stuff is most of my experience with Dr. Fate. But like I'm imagining a Dr. Fate book that's very, very heavy on like Greek and Roman mythology stuff and like very macabre, like this image here. This one feels like a fucking like obvious choice, and I almost put some other books on here than the one I ended up picking, but then I was just like, no, it's gotta be fucking this. So I wanted to do something with Salvador Dali.
Yeah.
And I was like obviously the first thing that comes to mind is doing a fucking Doom Patrol book. He's the surrealist painter. He's the surrealist painter. And so I almost went with like some other stuff. I almost went with like, oh, what if he did a Justice League Dark book or something? And then at the end of the day, I was like, no, he's got to do a fucking Doom Patrol book. Mm-hmm. That is such a slam dunk, like that would be so perfect.
See, when I'm looking at this picture that you have on here, you have I don't know what painting this is, but it's the one with a bunch of animals and
it's the Temptation of Saint something.
Okay. When I see something like this, I don't think Doom Patrol. I think more, what's the Seven to Eternity? Like him doing a book akin to Seven to Eternity, like that would be. I think. I don't know. Tell me what you think about
like a fantasy book.
Yeah, definitely. But what do you think about Doom Patrol? What kind of story do you think Salvador Dali would lend himself to Doom Patrol?
I think he would really fit with the kind of Grant Morrison mold of like just like throwing them up against fucking weird nonsense. Like just have Salvador Dali like come up with the craziest nonsense he can in like crazy images and just have them deal with it. Like how do they emotionally cope with being stuck in some sort of weird fantasy realm with all this kind of fucking weird long-legged horsey bullshit? Like that's specifically this painting, but just like weird. We just have Salvador Dali go crazy with the imagery and have them have to fight a bunch of stuff like that.
I can see that. Okay.
And then finally, I have Vincent Van Gogh also, and I went back and forth on who I should put him with, but I ended up going with Spider-Man. Ooh. I think he does really nice cityscapes, and I just imagined like, what if you saw like fucking Spider-Man swinging through one of these Vincent Van Gogh cityscape kind of environments? I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny to imagine, but also I think would totally work. If it was in the context of a Spider-Man.
I can see that.
And then also just, I don't know, I thought about like, what if you got a fucking close-up of Vincent Van Gogh painting Spider-Man shooting webs? Like how fucking weird would that look?
Yeah.
It'd look cool, I feel like.
It'd be really, really amazing. Can I just say in doing this exercise, I've noticed that I think I look at art in a very different way now that I've been reading like that sort of medium. It's really, really strange to me. Like there's just this appreciation, way I can talk about it and think about it that's different than I ever have before. I really, really enjoy that. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So that's gonna do that for that. Do you want to talk about Doom Patrol at all?
Yeah, I kind of forgot about it. We have to talk about. I mean, I don't have as much to say about this episode. I do actually. Okay, what I want to say about this episode is, I think it holds up. I just think there are some weird things about it, but the weird things work sometimes.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about the first episode too. Like it's super flawed. Like there's lots of weird, glaring issues.
Yeah,
but they kind of work. Also,
yeah,
like they kind of in weird, unexpected ways, kind of add to whatever the feel this show has, whatever the like themes it's going for are. I don't know why.
Yeah, but like, I mean, one of the main things that I loved about this was them going into an extra dimension through a goat. That is just fucking bonkers ass shit. Like, I love.
I don't know if it was their like kind of play on the idea of like a painting that ate Paris kind of story, or if they're gonna save that for later. But like, yeah, it's a very like they're very much cribbing on the kind of like Grant Morrison, like just absurd nonsense.
Yeah,
and like I love how they react to it in this episode. They're like they keep trying to explain the there's a weird dimension or whatever. The goat is a doorway, and everyone's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you are saying nonsense.
Yeah.
The fucking sequence when Rita is like sarcastically saying that they should squeeze her into the goat through a trash bag. And they're like, well, would that work? and then she literally lets them do exactly that. It's so good.
It's really great.
That.
One glaring thing that I didn't like about this was I didn't like Jane's subplot in this one as much.
I really hope they get to her being just somewhat calmer sometime soon. I think both she and Robot Man right now, more so her, but Robot Man also, are just they're yelling a lot.
Yeah, I want them to find themselves.
I think we found a nice kind of understanding at the end of this episode, and I hope that that's kind of where we're going from going forward. But like, they were very combative in this episode in a way that I found kind of abrasive.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that was kind of the point, but I hope that like that we got resolution here, and we're going to move forward with them having a little bit more of an understanding.
Yeah. I really liked the work that they did, though, in the... I don't know. I really liked... okay, I want to ask, actually. What did you think of Mr. Nobody in this episode?
Oh, I thought he was great.
Yeah.
I'm liking Alan Tudyk as Mr. Nobody more and more every time he's, like, talking or on screen. I think he's such a great fit. They haven't really gotten to, like, him... I don't know if they're going to play around with the idea of, like, the Dada stuff or anything in this show, but like I hope they get some of him kind of explaining like his ethos.
Yeah.
Cause I really like the personality they've set up for him here. It's like cartoony and goofy in a way that I think really, but like also sinister in a way that really fits. I think Alan Tudyk is a really good casting choice for the Grant Morrison version of Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree. I think the sinisterness comes from his sort of scheme, like setup. Like, he's totally goofy when he's saying this stuff, I think, but what he's saying shows, like, I think the writing and the delivery is in great ways. Like, it's I don't know, the sinisterness only comes from the fact that he's making them relive these fake histories, and I don't know, it hits kind of hard, actually. I think it's points when they're sort of dealing with this trauma through another lens, through a lens controlled by him. I don't know. I really was a big fan. What do you think is the significance of Cyborg spouting off his, slogan, basically, his, like, his not mantra, what am I thinking of? His, mission statement. What do you think about him spouting off his mission statement to Mr. Nobody, only to have it doled exactly back to him word for word by his father? Do you see that as Mr. Nobody is having more control over the real world by controlling that story? Or do you see that as his mission statement not really meaning what he means, more what his father wants?
I think that's more the point.
Okay.
Like, is that, like, Mr. Nobody is so in his head that he sees that influence of his father in there?
I think really the thing I'm so surprised at with Doom Patrol is it's so close to being bad.
Yeah, it's weirdly always teetering on this edge of like the performances being too much and the writing being too silly and on the nose.
Yeah, but it's absolutely not, though. You know what I mean?
No, but it's right on their razor's edge, but it's on the side of it being good, and it's kind of to its benefit.
It's intriguing. It's absolutely intriguing.
Because it's right on that edge, it's always really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's always different, and it's always odd, and that's super perfect.
Yeah.
You know? But it's just on that side of working. And so like that's that sweet spot where you kind of want it.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Definitely. And there's a huge difference between the weirdness that is, you know, like Legion is another TV show that's absolutely fucking bonkers and silly at times, but it's very different. You know, like it's almost as if this show is trying more so to be a regular show when it's absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's not trying to be a regular show, but it is closer to that. So it's like, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying because it's structurally, broad strokes, very much kind of pretty formulaic in terms of like the structure and the team dynamics and everything. But like the moment to moment approach, the specifics of it is this weird, bonkers, surrealist, absurdist thing. And that kind of is in direct, like, kind of not conflict, but like those two things are kind of the way they're mashing up is kind of what makes it different, you know? And that's fun.
Absolutely. But yeah, I'm still really excited to keep going on. I really
like the stuff they did with not Mr. Nobody, Negative Man, Larry in this episode, especially what they were doing with him. This idea that he doesn't control the negative spirit, and then it kind of is this thing that he doesn't want to engage with inside of him. And at the end of the episode, we're getting him like trying to come to some sort of weird, like,
that's what I was got. Yeah.
understanding with it. Like he wants to create a relationship, like some sort of working relationship with the negative spirit. He leaves a note for it on his nightstand, on his mirror, saying we need to set some ground rules, which is like a very Hulk kind of thing.
And I also love the setup with it, like as he's laying down to go to sleep, he's telling himself this mantra of "You're gonna wake up. It's okay. You're gonna wake up. You're gonna wake up." And I think it's so cool to like insert that sort of like trauma that he probably has every single time it leaves his body. Like it's.
Yeah, the small character moments that they pull out of these characters in relation to their powers are really good. Like the small ways in which they all like show like how would a person deal with having this? How would what are these small little moments that show like that these people have been dealing with these, like Rita like having to deal with like parts of her melting all the time, and and him like he tries that fucking sequence where he's trying to get on a bus is so good.
Yeah,
it's so he keeps trying to buy. If for anyone who hasn't seen it, this character, he has the spirit inside of him that basically it's a separate entity, but every time it leaves his body, it like takes all of his energy with it, so he passes out. Is kind of, I think, how it works in this show. It's always a little bit different, but basically, he keeps trying to buy a bus ticket and get on the bus. Every time he tries to get on the bus, the negative spirit leaves his body and he passes out. So he keeps trying to buy new tickets for different buses, and it keeps like not letting him get on the bus by leaving his body. And they do in this, like, it turns into this fun montage.
Yeah.
It's so great.
It's really just so much fun.
Yeah. what did you think of Cyborg in this issue, in this episode?
I liked, like, it's so weird because it's like he's just teetering on that edge of just like, I like him most of the time, but then sometimes it's just like, you gotta say that, or like you gotta be that way. I don't know. It might get tiring at some point, but I liked the dynamic, I guess, that they're setting up for him and his status quo with his dad and everything right now. We'll just have to see.
It's weird because he's not a Doom Patrol associated character, like, generally in the past. Like, it's weird, and it's also weird. I was skeptical about them putting him in the show alongside Robot Man. I was like, isn't the struggle they kind of have kind of redundant? But they used kind of that redundancy, that similarity in this, in what seems like are going to be some interesting ways. Like this idea that he is like Robot Man, but he's advanced. A more kind of capable. He's a more, he is, if the metaphor here is that they're kind of the disabled or the disfigured, he is a more capable,
version,
disabled person, you know, like he has more tools to deal with it or something. And he's kind of in this weird way looking down on someone who has a very similar kind of, condition to him.
Well, because also in this universe, he's also a more well-known superhero. So people accept him almost. So, you know what I mean? Like he's almost,
but there's also this dynamic of like, they accept him kind of, because he looks more human.
Yeah.
Like specifically the sequence where he's talking to Jane when she is basically in her child persona, baby doll. She is fine with Cyborg, and then all of a sudden she sees Robot Man. She's like, "What is that? It's scary."
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like he has the same kind of condition, but he looks more approachable. He looks more normal in comparison. And so I think that's a really interesting dynamic, and it like kind of really pisses off Cliff.
Yeah.
And I like that. I hope they continue to kind of play with that idea of the contrast between them.
Yeah. No, that'll be interesting going forward. It's just some of the writing with him, I think, is a little weird.
I think I agree. But hopefully once he gets more ingrained into the team, it'll be a little more natural. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
okay. Yeah. Well, what do you think, Doug? Anything else you want to go on with that?
No, I think that should about do it for this week. If you made it this far into the show, thank you so much for listening. As a podcast, the absolute biggest thing you can do for us to help people find our show, to kind of help elevate our platform. We must consume all of the media.
Oh wow!
If you want to kind of help us find a new audience and everything, if you want other people to enjoy the show, like you maybe did, hopefully, is give us a review or a star rating on iTunes. It's how they surface new shows to people. If you enjoy the show, also just let someone know about us. Just tell your friend, tell your Twitter followers or friends. On Facebook or whatever. And you can do that in person, do that on social media. We release episodes weekly on Sundays, just like today if you're listening on the day. And be sure to check back in next week. Or if you just hit the subscribe button on iTunes or your podcast app of choice, then it'll just deliver you the new episode every week. I don't have to explain how podcast apps work to you. You know, you're listening to us right now, unless you're like listening on YouTube or something.
I mean, we have videos on YouTube and Facebook, video versions where we talk live. No, we don't. Mm-hmm. It'd be fun though. We're really changing this up. You kind of did a little bit. Are you getting sick of the routine, Doug?
I don't know. I'm trying to find ways to kind of get a little bit more variety, a little bit more improv into these things.
Nice. Okay. Valuable contents, maybe?
Valuable content.
Thank you. That was surprising. Wow. Shit. But all those podcast feeds that we should not have to describe to you, there are a lot of them. iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Overcast, Google, Spotify, whatever one you want. We got you covered.
Ooh, beautiful.
Right?
That was some nice baritone in there.
Oh, thank you. Do I have a lower voice than you? I feel like mine has a lot of range.
I don't know. I feel like I talk... Yeah, I feel like I have a range of different kind of tones I talk in also, but I think my voice is definitely higher than yours.
Okay. Here, I'll try and give us some cool radio vibes for the last part of this. Here we go. In the meantime, y'all you cool cats out there, before the next episode, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook under the handle @comicscovered. You can also find web archives of all our episodes at comicscovered.libsyn.com and on our YouTube channel. I already mentioned our video versions on Facebook and YouTube. They're not actual video versions, but they are videos in that format, so fuck you. And if you want to get a hold of us with a question or feedback, all you cool cats out there, send us a message on Facebook or Twitter, or at our Gmail at coolcats.com. I'm just kidding, no. comicscovered@gmail.com. Thank you again for listening. I'm a cool cat. How's that?
That was very good.
Thank you.
I was listening to some NPR right there. That was, you said your name already.
Yes, I did. I said I'm a cool cat.
Yeah, you're a cool cat. Well, I'm a warm dog.
Oh, nice.
I'm Doug.
And this has been Comics Covered, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for listening.
Cheerio.